You know, American media is very, very interesting. It seems like every time we get closer to some sort of election, we start hearing wild and wilder stories, like how apparently us Haitians eat cats. I didn't know that. One thing I find in particularly interesting is that a lot more police interactions are coming out in media, right? Case in point, we have Tyreek Hill. And listen, say what you will about what happened to him. The case of the matter is, or the fact of the matter is rather, both parties were wrong. So we're gonna take a look at this video. I'm gonna break it down like a fraction. You already know, pull up, come hang out. Let's take a look at the video and talk about it.
Why don't you have your seatbelt on? Why don't you have your seatbelt on? Like what? Why you have it up? Keep it down. Hey! Keep your window down. Annie. Hey, keep your window down. Keep your window down. I'm gonna get you out of the car. As a matter of fact, get out of the car. Give me your ass, Get out of the car. Give me your ass. I'm gonna break that freaking window. Get out of the car. Get out of the car right now. We're not playing this game. Get out. 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 What part of blood don't you understand? Hey, Drew, I'm getting arrested, Drew. I'm getting arrested.
All right, so without even going further into the video, here's my personal opinion. Personally, I think Tyreek from the jump. And I say that simply because, listen, if you're gonna have police officers pull you over or, just have any sort of interaction with an officer, it would make the most sense to deal with that as amicably as possible. In other words, I'm not trying to give you static that's gonna get me in trouble, and I wouldn't wanna put you in a position that would get you in trouble, although, we can say certain things about how often police get in trouble, but that's not the point of the conversation here. Really what I'm trying to get at is, gentlemen, in this channel, we talk a lot about like self-improvement, dating and relationships. I'm gonna file this right into the self-improvement and self-development category. Guys, if you have anger issues or problems with perceived authority, you can call me a bootlicker for saying that, but the reality of it is, as far as society is concerned, if a cop pulls you over, they lead that interaction first and foremost, unfortunately. The only thing you can do is do your best to get out of that situation without ending up like Tyreek Hill. When you are in any sort of confrontation, whether that be with an officer or someone out in the streets, oftentimes it's not worth giving that kind of static back because it's just going to lead to bigger and worse problems. The second the officer interacts with Tyreek Hill, you could already tell he's giving him static. And I get it. Listen, you're in a McLaren S something. I don't know what it is, but it's a pretty nice McLaren, not gonna lie. But you're in a McLaren, you're feeling yourself, you're one of the best, best players in the NFL. Yeah, you might be walking around as though you have some sort of superiority complex. But the reality of it is, you still have to interact with people on an everyday basis. And for a lot of guys out there who may not be on Tyreek's level, a lot of y'all act like this too. A lot of the times, the reason why you end up in some of the troubles that you end up in is simply because you get back at it with its own static or with even worse static. You like to have that headbutt confrontation. Which I don't know why. Me personally, I've gotten into, I wouldn't say many, but as a young guy growing up, I've gotten to some altercations with some officers. And when I was younger, I was driving an Infiniti G35. It was a blue coupe, relatively nice. And yeah, sometimes I'd get pulled over for speeding. But you know what I always did though? I answered the officers respectfully. And guess what happened to me? Nothing. Nothing. This isn't me defending cops. This isn't me defending anyone, because I could also say at the same time that officer was a little overly aggressive. But one would have to think, in that kind of line of work, if you're constantly dealing with people who might be shady, you don't know who you're dealing with, and then you approach a vehicle that's rather darkly tinted and you can't even see the inside, I would assume that that officer would assume that it could be a potential dangerous situation, which, I mean, why would I try to handle that as nice as possible? If anything, I want to get this done as quickly as possible. So if that means I need to be rather aggressive with my approach, if I'm the officer, if that's my line of thinking, then I'm going to run with that. As a civilian, regardless if you're a celebrity, Joe Schmo off the street, you working at Walmart, or you're an incel neckbeard, whatever the case may be, it's always going to be in your best interest to deal with confrontation on the lighter side of things. There's nothing wrong with saying, you know what, sir, you're right. Let me go ahead and grab you my information, whatever you need. Here it is. My apologies. I know I was speeding, because we have to be real here. You know, we can't keep going with this victim card mentality. You know, we can't keep doing this. You were speeding through a construction zone. You're putting other people's lives at risk. Like the Joe Schmo who works the 9 to 5, I doubt he wants to get hit by a McLaren. Well, unless he were to survive and then sue your ass. But with all things considered, no one wants to get hit by a car. So if you're going to be speeding through a construction zone, you're putting people's lives at risk, and naturally, you might face the consequences of that dumbass action. There's no reason for you to be doing that. But anyway, let's continue.
I'm getting arrested, Drew. I'm getting up, bro. God damn, twin.
When we tell you to do something, you do it.
I'm getting
You understand?
up. I'm getting up,
You
bro.
understand? Not what you want, but what we tell you.
I'm getting
You're a little
out.
confused.
I'm getting out, bro.
Too late.
Chill,
Too
bro.
late.
All right, bro. Take
Too
me to
late.
jail, bro. Do what you gotta do, bro.
We are. We will.
Good, bro.
It is good.
Hey, Drew. Hey,
Don't worry about it. I hung up the phone. Can you stop crying?
bro. Y'all
Don't move.
good.
The officer's kind of right. I mean, again, if I was in that situation and I knew I did nothing wrong, the last thing I'm going to do is start talking back, because this is going to be on camera anyway. And if anything, that would just set them up for a lawsuit that I would win. So there's no point of even, acting up or, having that tantrum or whatever the case may be. I think it's pretty unfortunate, because I was watching Anton Daniels earlier, actually, and he was mentioning this as well. Back in the day, officers and teachers were often the extension of parents, which I agree with. I didn't grow up in a terrible neighborhood, but I didn't grow up in the most pristine suburbs either. So sometimes we would have police interaction, and it's not like they were threatening us, but sometimes they would say, like, hey, it's getting late. We know you guys are kids. We don't want to see you guys out here, because truthfully, there's nothing going on that's conducive to anyone after like 11 p.m. Let's be real about this. Like, going to the clubs, being out late, doing all that dumb knucklehead shit doesn't really pay much. That's not going to get you anywhere. So when officers would say, like, hey, we're going to come back around here, there's somebody out here that we're looking for, this case and the third, essentially, we don't want to see you out here past a certain time. Hey, it sucks, but take your ass inside. Like, what is the point of trying to fight that? That's a fight, unfortunately, you're not going to win. And the same thing goes for Tyreek Hill. And, as guys, we have to understand that, yes, understandably so, we have to be, tough, or have to be able to deal with confrontation, whatever the case may be. But what's better than all of that? Being wise. It's even better than that, although being wise is pretty top tier. I'd say it's like S tier. Being wise and cooperative, because that'll end up getting you out of trouble. There's no reason to throw yourself into the middle of the quote unquote furnace, right, and start acting erratic or trying to match energy with an officer who clearly does not want to play any games. I don't know about y'all, but I've been to Miami, and let me tell you something, the Cuban or the Spanish officers down there, they don't play. They really do not play these kind of games. And it's not even necessarily like they'll get violent or be tough with you, but as far as talking to you direct and stern and making sure that, shit moves the way it's supposed to, they will absolutely do that. Now, again, can we argue that the officers were perhaps a little too aggressive? Yeah, sure, whatever. But again, as a celebrity or civilian, so long as you're not an officer, one thing that you have to remember is that you should assume that they're gonna act that way anyway. That job fucking sucks. I don't know why anyone would want to be a cop. Shout out to you if you are one. But seriously, let's be real. Who the fuck wants to be a cop? I have cops for friends, and I ask them that all the time. Like, bro, what inspired you to do this? Because that is the last thing I'd want to do. I have zero interest. As much as I like the idea of protecting the community and keeping the community safe, I have zero desire to put my life on the line for some knucklehead who's over here listening to Bossman D-Lo trying to act like him. Shout out Bossman D-Lo.
I don't know what you're mad at me for. We got the same 24.
But no, for real, guys, I think in the grand scheme of things, one has to understand, like, okay, I make millions of dollars. I'm a celebrity. I'm one of the best NFL players, not ever, but, just one of the best NFL players. That doesn't allow you to act like a dickhead. I'm sorry. as much as I wanted to defend Tyreek, and when I took a look at the video initially, because, you know, with media, all you get is certain sound bites. All you get is certain clips. You don't get the entirety of the story unless you go looking for it yourself, which is why me personally, I believe that anyone who listens to what everything or listens to what anything the media has to say, like, and takes it as genuine, actual, honest truth, I think you're doing yourself a disservice. And it's always in our best interest to go ahead and do our external research and come to our own conclusion. You know, like that whole think for yourself, use your own brain type shit. Yeah, anyone who doesn't do any of that and just listens to the media is wrong. And I have to admit, unfortunately, when I first took a look at the clip, I found myself in that predicament somewhat where, you know, I was looking at it, I'm like, damn, even Tyreek, like, everybody's getting it. But if you look at the entirety of the video, even the initial reaction or the initial interaction, excuse me, you'll notice that immediately upon interacting with one another, they're static. And listen, I know, again, guys, you might call me a bootlicker or whatever the case may be. The facts still remain, dog. At the end of the day, it's always going to be a lot easier for you to get out of certain situations if you answer them a lot sweeter than if you were to answer them harsher. And we could apply this to dating and whatever the case may be. Let's say some woman rejects you. There's no need for you to then insult her and then be upset and try to berate her. Bro, if she don't like you, she don't like you. The best thing you could do is just move on. There's no reason for you to be upset and try to, you know, tear her down. You know, I've always found that so interesting, regardless of gender, whether it be male or female. For you to approach someone, get rejected, and then start making fun of them, that obviously says a lot more about you than it does about them. And clearly, it lets them know that you're hurt. And why would you even want to give that to them? If that's really what you're after, if you're really trying to come off as impervious or stoic, whatever the case may be, the last thing you want to do is give them a reason to see you as otherwise. And let's go off script real quick. For my black men, this is even more important because listen, the world is going to have its impression of you without you even saying a word. I would know. As a Haitian, I've grown up with tons of different stereotypes or tons of, you know, preconceived notions people have had about me. But what have I always done? I've always bounced back or rebutted that with my character, with how I act, how I speak, how I carry myself, X, Y, and Z. You can't give people free ammunition. Why would you do that to yourself? So to then act the way you act and then tell the public that as a black man you feared for your life while interacting with the officers, dog, you're in the wrong. You're in the wrong for that. You can't be out here saying that, especially if you were the one who technically kind of started it. I mean, listen, if you're going to go speeding through a construction zone and assume that you're not going to get pulled over, that's pretty myopic. I'm not going to go through the entirety of the video, but I'll finish it off with a little bit more of the video and then I'll give my commentary. But I want y'all to get in the comments as well. Let me know what you think. And also, if you're watching the video and you find this to be entertaining, you should do yourself a favor and go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Share this with a homie. Hit the like so other people can see the video as well. But let's keep going.
Bro, you beating on my window like you crazy.
Set him up.
Why y'all beating on my window like y'all crazy for? Damn, yo, bro, dude beating on my window like he crazy. I ain't do nothing, twin. Damn.
Hey, don't park there. Don't park there.
Hey. Hold on, bro. I just had surgery on my knee. I just had surgery on my knee, bro. I just had surgery on my knee, bro. I just had surgery in your ears when we go there with the window down.
Nah, that's fucking hilarious. Did you have surgery on your ears? That is mad funny. But again, true. Why not just listen the first time around? I understand you don't want to interact with the officers and you don't want to make it seem as though they have power over you. But in this situation, 5 minutes of quote unquote subjugation and compliance is not going to kill you. It's not going to remove your man card. Guys, I'm gonna put my phone away. Here's ultimately what we need to learn. A short amount of humility is worth saving your life. It really is. Always remember this. I want y'all to remember this, all right? I had someone in the industry, in the modeling acting industry, not my agent, but my agent, tell me this one thing. Humility is good for the brand. Humility will always be good for the brand. And guys, you have to understand that because it's not about you being tough or you acting out, or, you know, you trying to show men that you're macho. Bro, if me saying, yes, sir, no, sir, here's my ID, sir, my apologies for speeding, sir, thank you for the ticket, sir, have a good day, sir. If that will keep me safe and make sure that I don't get arrested or put me in a position where I'm risking an injury or re-injuring something, excuse me, for the simple fact that I don't want to sit down, if it's gonna save me from all that sort of confrontation and conflict, then bro, why not just fucking do it? Like, just fucking do it. It's like when you were growing up and your parents would ask you to do something. Like, yeah, I totally understand. You don't want to fucking get up and go do it. But yo, if getting up and getting it done means you're not gonna have to hear your mom bitch at you or your dad bitch at you, or, you know, if it's just gonna not cause drama, why not just do it? I don't understand. It's not like you're seceding anything. You know, it's not like you're neutering yourself for the sake of someone else. That's not what it is at all. It's just, for me, at least in my perspective and how I think about it, how quickly can I comply to just get this shit over with? That's really it. Like, you don't even have to be genuine about the compliance. Like, no one's saying you have to smile and be like, okay, officer, here's my card. Like, you don't have to do that. You can just be like, okay, here's my card. You're right. I was speeding. I'm terribly sorry. It's really that easy. And same goes for any sort of confrontation. Like, you don't have to be macho in every situation. This is how you get smoked. This is what happened to my brother. I'll tell you a little story before I end this video. So my brother, DJ Jean, great guy, amazing guy, kind of a short king. He was like 5'6"-ish, you know? And he always felt the need that he had to act bigger than what he was, whether that be due to his height, whatever the case, it is what it is. But unfortunately, he got the short end of the stick, no pun intended, and, you know, he grew up being a relatively short man. Now, there was one day in particular where he was driving in the bad part of town because for whatever reason, he decided he wanted to hang out with people from the bad part of town. This is why it's also important to know who you are. Well, not only know who you are, but know who you're hanging out with. Very important. But he decided to go ahead and hang out in that bad part of town, and he had confrontations with someone else. And upon that confrontation, at first they were just talking. Nothing serious was happening, you know, they were just talking back and forth. But according to what I heard from investigators and, you know, what they've heard from witnesses at that time, my brother passed away in 2011, I was 17 when he passed away, they said that my brother got out the car and decided to shove his finger in that dude's face. Why? Why? What is the point? What is the point? Personally speaking, you have to carry yourself as though you are a valuable product. Like, whoa, I can't just be getting into anything because I'm worth something. I can't just be putting myself into the firing lane like that because I have shit to do. I've got shit to accomplish. Like, I'm not gonna place myself around a whole bunch of people who are prone to crashing out simply because I wanna be fucking macho. That's not how life works. And unfortunately for my brother, he learned this lesson the hard way, and there were no round twos. Shout out Kendrick Lamar. There were no round twos for the mistake that he made. Unfortunately, his life was taken. And for me growing up, that was my biggest lesson in life. The two things I learned, because, you know, the plot twist to that story is that he had that gentleman's girl in his car. First of all, guys, if she's got a man or whatever the case may be, just leave her alone. Even if she's with it, like even if she's down to do the deed with you and she knows she has a man at home, that man more than likely is willing to crash out, especially if he's investing time, money, and emotions into this female. Bro, he will crash out on you. Do yourself a favor and don't put yourself between that line of fire. Don't do it. And number two, it doesn't pay to be a tough guy. It really doesn't. It does not pay to be a tough guy whatsoever. Now listen, you might have your moments where, you know, you're gonna stand your ground on certain things, and as a man you should defend yourself on certain things. But there are just some moments where it's not worth it, and you need to be able to develop the capacity to have that discernment and understand when that's applicable. I'm not going to play the rest of the video because I think the most important parts were already shown. I think this video was pretty informative, pretty important, but again, I want to hear your comments. Leave them down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my shit. Watch another one of these videos. Do me a favor. We're trying to get to 10K. I am about 406 people away, 406 subscribers away from 10K. do me that favor. If you're interested in personal training, currently the app is down. We're kind of working on rebranding, rebuilding, something going on in the background, so we're taking care of it. The self-improvement and self-development consultations are clarity calls. The 45-minute free clarity call will be available soon, coming this fall. Again, just working out the kinks. And that's about it, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.